Hello, Megan.
Hey, Devon.
I'm so happy to see you. How was your week?
You know, just
No, it
busy
was a
watching hockey.
phenomenon. You were not. Tell our friends, or I
Oh,
will.
okay, you can.
Okay, so this Saturday at a Kentucky Derby party, my co host became my future sister in law. Congratulations to Megan and Brennan on their engagement.
Thank you.
We're so
We're very
excited for you.
excited. Yes.
Now I'm having like the Daenerys Stormborn Targaryen Mother of Dragons issue when I introduce you. Do I say my best pal Megan, my future and sister-in-law, my co-host, my brother's fiance? Do I go all of the above and make you feel like a queen, like you're sitting on the Iron Throne? I may
Oh,
just pick different ones all the time.
yeah, keep it fresh. Just rotate them.
I love it. Well, we're so happy for you.
Thank
So,
you.
more on that to come.
Yes.
Hockey style may have to have a hockey wedding style
Oh
episode.
boy. It's really confuse everyone.
The question is, on your big day, will you do one photo op with like a white away jersey, a custom jersey, so we can post it all over hockey style on Instagram?
I don't know. It sounds like I have to.
You have to, like our Kentucky Derby pictures.
Yes.
If anyone would like to see the surprise proposal, which I have to say my brother did impeccably, check us out on Instagram at Hockey Style Podcast. I was over the moon, and Megan was. I think you were a little bit in shock that it
Yeah, I
happened
wasn't
right
expecting
then.
it at all. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
not expecting that.
yeah. Oh, it was
Mm-mm.
so fun, so fun. So yes, listeners over there. So when I say how was your week, and she goes, oh, it
Above
was okay.
average.
It
Yeah.
was above average. I can't even follow that. Like, I've just been watching hockey, like per usual, living my normal old married lady life. So, no, in the hockey space, a lot has happened.
For sure.
We, we, you and I sort of accidentally manifested the outcome of the Winnipeg Game 7 win and the Dallas Game 7 win when we
Mm-hmm.
randomly chose to wear those jerseys at the Derby party, which was
Yes.
funny.
Yes. More
What
or less
else?
just trying to pick a jersey that looked good with a pink dress. And I
You know,
gave it to the gray Jets jersey. And here we
he
are
said,
now.
what goes with hot pink? I'm like, well, the navy and gray would be really cute. I
Yeah.
sort of had, I really wanted to wear Dallas because, they're my pick to win it all. And now Robo's back, thank goodness. And Mikko Rantanen's freaking standing on his head, which
I
is
don't think the
incredible.
players do that. I think that's a goalie thing.
A goalie thing. He is the warrior of the playoffs thus far. Back to back
Ugh.
Hatties. One was a natural Hattie. He got his revenge on the Avs, like all beautiful. So he's been doing well. And I purposely chose the yellow dress because it would pair well with green. So there's our hockey
Perfect.
style tie-in.
Mm-hmm.
Other news in the world of hockey style, we would be remiss not to mention the Utah Mammoth have officially launched their brand, their jerseys. What are your thoughts? Have you seen them, Megan?
Yeah. They finally did it. It
They did
just
it.
felt like everybody knew what it was going to be. It
Yes.
took so long. And then it really would have been great. Like, I just wanted more, like, get me a mammoth, walk a mammoth out. I don't know. Go to the Natural History Museum. Give me something. I don't know. Bring me some of the bones.
So,
Don't just show me a map. Take me to the bones.
so
Maybe
your
I'm crazy.
your issue was less with the product and
Yeah,
more
it's
with the
fine.
presentation.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
just give me something.
You wanted some pizzazz.
But to be fair, I love the colors. I love them since they chose them. So it's not really
Yes.
like that was new, but I really do love their colors. It's really great.
Yeah, the colors are beautiful, and I'm just glad they didn't choose a color combination that already existed. As an Eastern Conference team, Red Wings, how many red and white teams or blue and white teams are we going to play? Like,
But
so I get excited when we see something different.
lest we forget, there are only two teams in the NHL that only have a two color scheme.
Yes, yes,
At least
yeah,
we have that going for us.
totally agree.
Small
Well,
consolation prize.
yes, no, you're right about that. Yeah, when the Canes were playing the Devils, I think it bothered me the most. I'm like, we gotta, they're in the same conference. We gotta, whatever. Moving
Right.
along, also am loving the thought process that was put into the design of the Utah Mammoth logo. Very much the same reason why I love the Seattle Kraken. There was a ton of thought put into the branding of the franchise. If you look at their logo closely, you'll see the top of the head of the mammoth is actually the shape of the mountains. The snow capped region continues on down to the U shaped trunk of the mammoth that represents the U for Utah, but it's also the pose that the mammoth would have when he was most powerful and charging through the region. And then within the mountains, you'll see a hidden M in blue in a part that is shaped exactly like the state of Utah. So just so much going on that is so well thought out. And I had no idea when they were debating about Mammoth or Outlaws or Utah Hockey Club Forever, Storm and Mormons for some of our listeners who still were voting for that one. We were excited to hear that there actually was meaning behind the mammoth. That was a region in Utah that was, I guess, a place where where mammoths just roamed free. So there was just a ton of thought behind it. And I think the jerseys turned out really pretty, but I am pulling for a baby blue alternate.
Baby blue. I just think of the Penguins. Yeah, I guess they can do that. I feel like their alternate is going to be one of the previous Utah jerseys, which I think they should keep. They are
That makes
nice
sense.
and simple and clean, so I imagine that being an alternate.
Their
But
away jerseys, actually, they're keeping Utah.
yeah. Oh, are they keeping it?
Yeah, so the home jerseys are black with the new logo, and the away jerseys are white with Utah. So I
Okay.
think they agree it's clean.
Okay. Fine.
Are you still going to get one with Shabuzi on the back since he
I have
performed at their
to.
first game?
Yeah.
I love it. It's so good. So
It will
you.
be so good. I just got to get around to it, and it's getting fully bedazzled. All of it.
Perfect.
He would
Shabuzi
have
would
it no other way.
approve.
I think he would have had his bedazzled if he could have. At least I hope.
It's not too late. Maybe you'll send him one. What else is happening? You've got your Canes jerseys behind you.
I do. Just gotta support the team, you know? This is all I
Your
have.
team, your pick. That is definitely not all you have, but that is definitely your pick to win, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and that, is definitely like I just feel like if we're not gonna do it now, then when? Um and I just said we, I don't know why, but yeah, they really like they gotta do it. You gotta do it.
The Canes are
It's
a
time.
we for you now. You've
Are
invested
they?
enough. It's
Jeez.
like, yeah, they're a strong number two
Oh,
in
they're
your
gonna
world,
be
I'd
so
say.
disappointed.
Well, I chose to go with a men's world's jersey behind me. It's, of course, Lion, who was there playing in the Czech Republic last year for a few games until his poor hand got skated over. But
Yeah, we're
very
gearing up for
excited.
that now. Yeah, very
Lots
exciting.
of good players over there whose teams are out of the playoffs. Who are you
Yeah, a
most excited
couple
about?
very fun announcements. Really excited for Marc-Andre Fleury. Um, I can't remember exactly. I think this is one of his only times ever doing this, and that is because generally he was in the playoffs. So he
Yeah,
doesn't usually get to participate in this tournament. So kind of excited for him to go do that, just extending the retirement tour. It's really exciting.
totally. The fact that he's able to say farewell to the NHL and then go represent his country too, it's just, it makes it a little less sad, I guess, right? Like
Easing out of it.
he's still such a fixture in the hockey community and truly always will be. We're still polling if you listen to episode 4. We're still hoping he returns next year as like the official prankster of the NHL. So
I think he can do
hopefully we
whatever he wants with the NHL.
yeah,
He'd be
he
great.
he would be. He would be a great commentator. I wonder if he's ever
Mm-hmm.
thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
So who else? I was excited to see Joey Decord from the Seattle Kraken choose to represent the U.S. at Worlds. He, because of his citizenship and his mom and dad's citizenship, actually was eligible to play for U.S., Canada, or Switzerland. And when you make that choice, it sticks with you for X number of years. And he chose the U.S. So
Probably
very
smart.
cool. Yeah, him and
Lots of
Swayman.
competition in Canada.
Very tough competition. But yeah, it'll be fun to see him and Sway as teammates. So, a few good things for the teams that didn't make the playoffs or have been eliminated. They still have some great players over there in Denmark
Doing the hockey. So far, aren't they
doing.
in Sweden? Or did I make that up?
Oh, are they in Sweden this year?
I thought they were in Stockholm, but I could be making that up.
Sweden and Denmark.
Oh, fun.
Both. Both. It was like last year they were in Prague and Czechia, which I thought were closer, but they're like a few hours apart. So I think you either play in one or the other.
Makes sense.
So we were both right. Sorry for the long pause there while I checked my sources. We only want to give you quality information here at Hockey Style.
Yes.
Um, which actually is a fantastic segue because the special
Yes.
guest that we have coming today is all about offering information to hockey fans interested in placing bets. Nick Haddad, is an NHL handicapper with the company Analytically Driven Plays. Their website is ADPDFS.com, but their magic really happens on Discord where they interact with the community and share info. So we are so excited to have Nick because he truly, obviously by his title, is a wealth of knowledge, but also lives and breathes hockey like we do and is such a fan first and foremost, which if you have to have a secret sauce, a secret ingredient to your hockey sauce when you're making betting decisions and gambling decisions, you got to love the sport. You got to really care because part of it is analytics, data, and measurement. And part of it is your gut and the
Yep.
vibes that you
Hmm.
get and watching the games and seeing players interact. So I am excited to introduce Megan and all of you to my colleague Nick, who also works for ADPDFS, and we can pick his brain on all things hockey.
Definitely looking forward to it.
Let's do it. Hi, Nick. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm so glad you're here. This is a fun topic. Megan and I have been pondering quite a bit over the past year or so when Bally Sports transitioned over to FanDuel Sports Network, and it was sort of all over the place all the time. All of a sudden, people who weren't really betting on sports were doing so just for fun, and we're seeing odds before every game. And to be totally transparent, and hopefully our listeners will repeat that, will appreciate that we don't know anything about this space. So we wanted like a one-on-one guest who wouldn't judge, who wouldn't mind coming in and just giving us a glimpse into the world of hockey predictions. And you're certainly the best person because you're so kind, but also so incredibly knowledgeable. So thank you so much for coming.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's an exciting topic and awesome helping people learn and understand. So I like to see it as they don't get taken advantage of by the sports books advertising, win big, do this, do that. It's more of understanding how to approach it, whether it's betting or even fantasy sports, and looking at that and saying, how do you get in that from a basic standpoint so that you're not just losing your money every day. So it's a
Yes.
great topic, and there's no judgment because everyone
Mhm.
has to start somewhere.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. And it's just fun to talk
Yeah.
with other people about what's coming up in the next round of the playoffs or, during the regular season, who do you think's going to do what when? Like it's just I think feel like more connecting with others who have strong opinions about the best sport in the world. Speaking of, Nick, let's take a giant leap backwards. Tell us about your love of hockey. What got you involved?
It's funny is I never actually played hockey. It was growing up, I had to choose hockey, baseball, and I knew I was good at baseball. That was where my love was, so I always stuck with baseball. But growing up in Detroit in the 90s, you kind of became a hockey fan. It really
Yeah.
didn't really matter what sports you liked. But there was just something about Red Wings that stuck with me for most of my life. I loved it. Steve Yzerman, my favorite player. I don't have his jersey hanging here. It's actually downstairs with my kids in the playroom, so they get to admire it every day.
Aw.
But just yeah, there was just something about the Red Wings. Staying up late on school nights with my dad, watching them play the San Jose Sharks. I remember that
Oh,
like it's yesterday. We're watching it on our flat screen
right.
TV, one of
Yep.
the first ever flat screens. And so just like really strong memories. And, as I've gotten older and understand the game from a different level, and now being where I am, just being able to understand that one, it's a game where analytics matter, but
Hmm.
that's not the only thing. And I think that's one of the things that I love about it is like hockey is kind of all about vibes at time.
Yeah.
And that's really the fun part of hockey because just sometimes things don't make sense and it makes it more exciting. You have to watch the games to understand it to really see what happened. And it's one of those that it's just exciting. Everyone loves
Hmm.
hockey. They can watch it on TV, especially if you're there. I've never heard a single person say a bad word about being at a hockey game where some other
Yes.
sports may have that.
Yes, I agree. You nailed it in the 90s. If you were not a Red Wings fan, boy, were you missing out.
Yeah.
So Megan came to us in Detroit from upstate New York and quickly
Mhm.
became the biggest Red Wings fan I know. So you got the vibe. Do you agree, Megan?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a Red Wings fan in the 90s, so I don't really have, I mean, obviously I'm aware of everything. It's a fantastic history, but I didn't grow up with it. I came in 2009, so I could watch the delightful steady decline.
Yeah.
It's been great.
We owe Megan a playoff run. She has been
Yes.
Yeah.
so loyal to this team. If for no other reason, we owe Megan.
Yeah.
I saw the
I
last
agree.
few playoff games, but that's
Oh,
about it.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
to a few.
Yeah, but we're overdue to say the least.
Ah,
So we know your favorite team, Red Wings.
Yep.
Favorite players, and just not from an analytic standpoint, but just from they tug at
That's
your heartstrings.
that is funny because that would be quite different than my actual favorite players.
Yes, mine
For
too.
me, yeah, it's so funny. For me, my favorite player, they're all gonna be Red Wings. So I'm gonna try
Mhm.
and go away from the Red Wings for once.
Okay.
Um, for some reason, I was a big fan of Andrei Svechnikov. He helped me win a fantasy championship, and I was a huge fan. I know
Did
that's
you know this about Megan?
I did not, but I saw that and I was like, oh, that's funny. So he actually helped me do a fantasy championship, which was really cool. Um,
Should
you
I leave and let you guys just
yeah.
spend an hour talking about Svetch?
My affinity for him comes from his brother, but since we can't watch him here, we have a
Yeah, you
default.
get his brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for listeners, Evgeny Svechnikov, big brother to Andre, is currently in the KHL, doing great, it seems, but we won't go so deep into the KHL just yet. We'll save that for a few episodes from now.
I need to go
Yeah.
deeper into the KHL.
Yeah.
I just know
Well,
where he is.
yeah, it's hard for United States citizens to really do that, but the jerseys are quite beautiful. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, sorry, Nick.
Yeah.
I
So
digress a lot. So you
no, that's
Andre
that's
helped you.
great. Yeah, he helped me do a fantasy championship. And then I like exciting players. I'm trying not to name just all the big stars, but a current favorite of mine, Wyatt Johnston. Just
Oh, me
love watching him
too,
play. I
John.
think he's just super talented and just I see a bright future for him.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's only what, like 20,
2021.
21, 22. He's a baby and he's crushing it.
Yeah. So he's really exciting to watch. He's on a team that I had picked last year to win the cup
Mm.
at the beginning of the year. This year I picked to win the cup. So
Me too.
yeah. So he's
Nick
just,
is just saying all the right things to us, Megan.
so I like watching it's when I see the way a certain player attacks the game and then I go into the analytical stuff and see, oh yeah, this makes sense. I like him whatever it is. That's usually where the affinity comes from, or
Yeah.
they help me win something. That's it.
Yep. So there are so many like young, exciting players to watch right now coming up through the system. Certainly we feel that in Detroit because thank God for the rookies and the prospects coming up. Bright future ahead. But across the league, I'm just amazed by the number of playoff teams who have these young guys like Wyatt who are making such an impact already.
Mhm.
It's not just the couple superstars carrying
Yeah.
everybody anymore. So, speaking of playoffs, are you sleep deprived like we are from staying up and watching all these games right now?
Well, well,
Or just from your two little boys?
I was gonna say I have two boys who like to wake up in the middle of the night randomly.
Mm,
So I usually fall asleep watching the late game, and wake up and see what happened. But yes, I'm watching as much as I can consume.
yeah. You said you're liking Dallas. Anything else? Thoughts on the playoffs in general? Anything surprise you?
Yeah, so the start of the playoffs surprised me when LA took a 2-0 lead and then completely collapsed. That is
Yeah.
not something I expected.
Yeah.
Watching that, I watched a lot of Kings throughout the year just because they ended up being the team I was watching when
Hmm.
everything was done. Oh, it's the late game. It's the Kings again. Um, and I'd actually picked them late in the season as a team that could, as a dark horse that could come out because they were getting the Oilers again. The Oilers were hurt. The Kings had three really strong lines, a good decor, a cup winning goalie, like all the things lined up, and they just couldn't do it. So that was a big surprise for me in the first round. And then Tampa just completely falling on their face and reading
Yeah.
some of the comments from the players basically saying like, yeah, they just, and it's weird to say they wanted it more, but they made their puck luck, the Panthers did, because
Yep.
it's not like they got significantly outplayed. They just lost. And so that was one that I expected that series to go to seven. It was
Yeah.
very difficult to pick, and the Panthers just came out and took it to them.
Hmm.
So those were the two big surprises so far. Everything else, maybe St. Louis taking it to seven, but really they were the hottest team in hockey. So like,
Hmm.
they can do that. Hockey, it's all about vibes. Even if
Yeah.
the metrics don't line up, sometimes it's just the vibes. And that's kind of
Yep.
what they did leading in. So made a little bit of sense to me there.
Yeah. I agree. We had the Lightning and Panthers at going to game 7, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then St. Louis and Winnipeg, I did not expect to go to game 7 at the same time that Dallas and Abs were going to game 7. And Megan and I keep joking that we manifested this because we randomly we went to a Kentucky Derby party. That part wasn't random, but to incorporate hockey style all the time, we chose jerseys to pair with our cocktail dresses for a few photo ops, right? Why not? Derby always overlaps with NHL playoffs. So, of
Yep.
course, Megan chooses Winnipeg. It looked great with the pink and the blue, pink dress, blue jersey. I, of course, chose Dallas, yellow, green. It all worked. And then that night, like at the end of the Derby party, Dallas went into the end of the game, won
Oh
game
yeah.
7. And I think it was OT, right? I think it was. And then the next day, like not even 24 hours later, Winnipeg goes into double OT to win in
Hmm.
game 7. And I'm like, Megan, we've got a power. We got to like really choose carefully what jerseys we pick next time.
What power? I choose the Red Wings and they ruin my life every year.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Maybe we don't have any power at all.
No, none.
Oh my gosh. So, also speaking of playoffs, Nick, this is really funny because today Megan and I were texting and making sure everything was prepared for tonight. And I said, any other questions you want me to send over to Nick that we want to cover? And she said, my brother, who's now her fiance, very,
Congratulations.
yeah,
Thank
very
you.
exciting. Said, oh, and also make sure you ask Nick his thoughts on will Mikko Rantanen get a playoff MVP? And it was at the exact same time that I was texting with you to make sure everything was ready for tonight. And you said, well, how about the Moose? And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I think he's feeling pretty optimistic about Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was a pretty impressive stretch of not just two games, but really the last three or four, what he's kind of done there. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's definitely on track. I was not expecting that. Just watching him play the last 3 months just
Hmm.
didn't look good, but apparently all he needed was the playoffs to come around, and now
Yeah.
he's back to form.
He had a weird time in his life too. I mean, can you imagine leaving the Abs after all that time and your pals going to Carolina for what was it, 2 weeks? Not even
And it was like 2, 3 weeks. Yeah,
two, 3 weeks.
but he said
Yeah,
he didn't want to play there.
I know. And then being told, well, you could have told us that first, and then getting shuffled over to Dallas. Like, I would be a little out of sorts as well. But
Yeah.
mostly I feel for his wife. She's like,
She'll
where are
be
we living?
okay.
Yeah, that's true. She'll be okay. Anyway, yes, it's been so fun to watch Mikko Rantanen. I think he's everybody's favorite player right now. It's just been
So Brennan's specific question was if you have a futures bet on him for that for
oh
MVP.
yes.
I did not. My futures bets were on Jack Eichel because I did
Okay.
think
Mm,
the Knights had a chance to win it. I placed one on Wyatt Johnston, talking about players that I think were going to take a big leap. Um, and specifically knowing teams were going to try and shut down the Dallas top line. I assumed that Johnston's line would be the one to step up.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that means he's the one doing the step up. We actually last year at ADPDFS, we were one of the only companies in the entire space. And this is not really betting related, but more on the daily fantasy side. But we were the only ones that recognized the Wyatt Johnston line because they're the third
Oh.
line. No one talked about them, but every
Mm-hmm.
single night it seemed like Jamie Benn was scoring a goal assisted by Wyatt Johnston.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget who the third member of the line was last year. Sometimes it was Stankoven, sometimes it was
Mm-hmm.
someone else, but didn't really matter so long as it was Ben and Johnson. They were killing it. And it was like every night we'd be on one of them to score a point. We'd be playing them in the daily fantasy. And it was just the whole thing that really we were one of the only people to do it. And they won a lot of money for people because we
Good.
recognized that. And so I thought this year he was going to take a big step up.
It's
My
not
other
too
bet
late.
yeah, well, my other picks were on the Kings, and that failed miserably because they lost to the Oilers. But had they won, we had a really good shot there.
You mentioned earlier, though, vibes are a huge part of betting on hockey and just, you got to feel it to some extent. Like analytics are important, but there's so much more when you look at team dynamic, player interactions, to really know what they're capable of. And I think LA had fantastic vibes as a team. So I
Yeah.
had them advancing on my bracket. That went, but
I
so
think Mikko Rantanen's vibes were spite there against Colorado. I think he dialed into that a little bit.
ah,
Yeah, he's living off of that right
Oh
now, and
yeah,
it's
good for
working.
him.
yeah, for sure. How do you possibly stay up on all 32 NHL teams? Like as much as you do?
So one, I don't. I can tell you that I don't stay up to date on every single one of them. It's just too much. I will say that the way my brain works, I remember more than I probably should. I probably need to remember more things like I told my wife I would do X chore this evening. But hockey and baseball stats take place. But I will say I use natural stat trick quite a bit to
Okay.
look at perf not daily performance, but when I'm trying to see if how a team's doing or whatever it is, that's my go-to.
Mhm.
It's the easiest way to get a lot of information in a short period of time.
Mhm.
And I'm not looking for everything. Also, after a couple weeks, you kind of know which teams are bad and which teams are good. And it just makes it really easy. Like, I'm not going to follow the Blackhawks and keep up to date with what they're doing. I'll just check to see if they've gotten any better over the last couple weeks on the
Mhm.
on the stats. Otherwise, move on. Columbus this year was a big one that I the eye test, the stat test told me they were bad and they
Mhm.
just kept winning.
Yep.
So it was one of those, I didn't really follow them much, but I knew based on that like the wheels are gonna fall off eventually. And so like that's kind of how I look at it. It's like, all right, this team, they're kind of on the back burner. This team, yeah, they're here. Like the Sharks are another example. Knew they were bad. They were gonna get scored on a lot. Easy enough. I don't really need to do much following there.
But they were so fun to follow.
They were fun.
I'm
They had a lot of
obsessed with Will
exciting.
Mack.
Yeah, they have a lot of exciting players, but they just weren't ready. So,
Yeah.
um, the long answer is yeah, you can't you can't keep up on everyone, but
Mhm.
you just do your best to find out to keep up with as much as you can and memory hold a lot the rest.
Yeah. You do a really good job. I've yet to have a hockey conversation with you where you don't know everything about the team we're discussing, though. So I think
Well,
you are modest.
I will say the research because when you're researching for a betting or daily fantasy slate, you have to look at the teams playing that day. And
Okay.
so, while yeah, I'm not following San Jose. If they're playing that day, on what we would call like the slate,
Hmm.
the game slate, then you're gonna research them. You're gonna see, okay, the Sharks, the Canucks, the Oilers, whoever's playing. And so you get a little bit of information every day, and some of it just sticks with you. So um, it's not that you're following every team, it's that you got to recognize the patterns, and that's the big thing. And so when you're looking for, oh, what players are going to score, what team, you
Hmm.
look at the line of, there's 7 games and you look at the top 2 lines or whatever it is and you try and find out, okay, this line plays really well together. All right, who's on it? And you just kind of go there. It's a long process, but
Yeah.
you kind of figure it, and then you just kind of start to learn like, oh, this line was really good 2 weeks ago. They're back together. Let me look to see if something changed. And you kind of go from there.
Which you have to love the sport to
Yeah.
have the energy and the enthusiasm to do that, which is why you make such a great lead NHL handicapper.
That's kind of the goal.
Yes. So let's talk about that more because one
Yeah.
reason, other than the fact that you are so kind and knowledgeable, that we wanted to have you on the show is we know a lot of people like us who just aren't familiar with the world of hockey betting and odds. So to take a quote, as Megan said from The Office, who is it?
Michael Scott.
Oh yeah,
And
infamous Michael Scott. Talk to us like we're 10 years old, just for a moment, and then we
Yeah.
won't say it's condescending. We ask for it.
yes.
The plus minuses that we see during games. You know, we religiously watch the Red Wings on FanDuel every away game when we're not at the LCA. We see them next to the players. They sometimes change midway through the game.
Yep.
Well, yeah, pretend I'm 10. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
Maybe 5.
So
Maybe
yeah,
5.
so what you're looking at when you see, we'll start at the top. When you
Okay.
look at a hockey line on your DraftKings, your FanDuel, whatever app you're using, it'll have 3 things. The first is usually in hockey, you'll see +1.5, -1.5, and then the odds underneath it. That's called the puck line.
Okay.
Other sports, it's called run line, whatever it
Ball
is.
line?
It's the
No.
spread. They call that the spread.
Okay. The spread.
Um, and that is saying whatever team has the plus is getting a goal and a half. So if they lose by 1, you win your bet. If they have 1.5, the team,
Okay.
the other team would be giving 1.5, so they would have to win by 2.
Oh, okay.
Hockey's really fun in the sense that there's the empty net, so it's really easy to win by 2.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
point.
so that's where it gets a little exciting is at the end of those games. So the number that you would see below it, let's say it's +100, -100, whatever that number is saying you have to bet X amount of dollars to win $100. So if it's +100, if you bet 100, you win 100. If it's
Okay.
minus, if you see a minus, so like a -110, you have to bet $110 to win 100.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, so the idea is whatever they're showing you is what a plus is what $100 bet would win you. A
Mhm.
minus is what you have to bet to win $100.
Very well explained. I think
Yeah,
we just need to dig in one day and do it for fun, not with $100. Maybe like let's ease into it.
it scales. Yeah, so whatever the math is on a $10 bet would
Okay.
scale it out too. It's not saying you have to bet that amount. It's just how the return works. So in
Okay.
the
Well,
instance of a dollar, if it's a +100, you bet a dollar, you'll win a dollar. So you'll get two $2 back.
okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Also, the 10-year-olds you're hanging out with must be really smart because
Okay.
that's still
So
your little boys must be above the curve on their intelligence level. That was still a bit like, okay, I think I got that, but I may
it's
need a
it's hard
cheat
to
sheet.
explain when we don't have it in front of us, I think.
Yeah,
So it's
that's true.
easier when you see it because you'll have the spread, you'll have a
Hmm.
money line, which is just taking whatever team to win, and then you have an over under, which is how many goals you think will be scored in the game.
Yeah.
So obviously over means you think there will be more, under will be
Yep.
less. Um, Usually over unders are pretty much always going to be like that,
Okay.
minus or +100 because they're pretty spot on. Whereas spreads and money lines or puck lines, whatever you want to call them, can get wild. Like when the Tampa Bay Lightning are playing the Blackhawks, Tampa Bay may be like -300 to win the game
Oh, wow.
because they're just that much better. So you would have to put $300 on Tampa Bay just to get a return of 100. So you bet 300, you
Got
would
it.
win back 400. So you get
Got
your
it.
initial
Okay.
bet plus $100.
I think this makes sense. I
It
think.
does briefly, and then I lose it again. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to watch this over and over again.
Yeah, we'll save this to reference later. Maybe
Yeah.
Megan and I will do a follow-up. We'll both bet like $10. And
There you
but
go.
but playoffs are so different than regular
Yeah.
season. I love the marketing out there right now. There's a TV ad that's running that says to the players, you've been lied to your whole lives. You've been told that if you want it more than the other guys on the ice, you will succeed. That's BS. In hockey playoffs, everybody wants it with every ounce of their being, fiber of their soul, and they're all going to lay everything on the line.
Mhm.
So that is why you see things like St. Louis Blues and Winnipeg going to game 7 and double OT. And it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But it makes, I'm sure it really complicates betting lines. Like, does that change your philosophy or strategy at all?
Yeah, I will say in the playoffs it becomes infinitely harder to
Okay.
handicap it just because like you said, every game is so close. If you don't watch every single second of every single game, it does make it that much harder. A lot of what I then like to do is look at certain player performances, because those tend to be a little easier to predict. One thing that we saw a huge trend in last year, which I haven't looked at it this year, was um, blocks and actually making bets on defender block totals for the game. Because in the playoffs, something happens and every shot gets blocked. It's like it's
Hmm.
this crazy number because at that point, like you said, they're putting it all on the line. They're
Hmm.
more willing to get in the puck lanes and block the shots as opposed to just putting their stick in the way and kind of say, I'm
Yep.
gonna save it for the playoffs. So block totals skyrocket in the playoffs, and you can
Yep.
really take advantage of that because it's especially a strong defensive team that like prides themselves on being compact, blocking a lot of shots, um, against a team like let's say Carolina who shoots the puck 1,000 times a game.
Hmm.
That's a really easy way to recognize Carolina shoots a lot. This team is super strong defensively and gets in the puck lanes. They're going to have a lot of block shots. So there are certain players that, Darnell Nurse for the Oilers is actually a really good example. He blocks like 4 shots a game in the playoffs or something. It's an
Does
absurd,
he? Wow.
it's like an absurd number. So like, but a sports book, DraftKings or FanDuel would never price his line that high. And the line is just saying like what they think it'll be because it would just not draw any people to bet on it. So
Right.
it's
Right.
something where you can take advantage of. So that's where you look to. The other part is if you have to have conviction too. Like, this is what I believe. Today, for example, I'll give you our money line parlay today. We were looking at the Capitals and the Knights because they lost last game. They're both
Mhm.
at home. The games just didn't really go their way, and they kind of could have went the other way pretty easily. Like the Capitals, I believe they lost in overtime. Like
Mhm.
just an
Yep.
easy thing that could have went the other way. So small things to clean up. And then Vegas was in control, and then all of a sudden things just fell apart. And they're
I
supposed to
know.
get Pietrangelo back. So like little things like that. And the idea is, well, this is round two. This should go 7 games or 6 games, kind of at the least. Like if it goes the other way, I'd be really surprised. So sometimes it's just based on like, hey, this happened. The other thing should happen today. So
Yep.
it's weird when you look at it because sometimes the analytics just go out the window.
Mhm.
But you still have to look at them and know, like, yeah, Washington played good, but they just didn't win. Let's go back to it.
Okay. Well, we'll forgive you for going back to the Caps instead of our Canes today, but what can you do?
Yeah,
We got to
it's
give Ovi a few. He's had a
yeah,
great year.
he's gotta win at least one game.
Yes, true. That was really interesting because we know that playoffs are completely wild and anything can happen, but there's still a method to the madness, if you will.
There's always a method. It's not just running on,
Hmm.
intuition. If a team gets blown out, sometimes like, yeah, all right, all right, what happened here? I think it was the Avs won like 7-4 versus the Stars, and it wasn't really anything analytically that suggested the Avs should have been there. They just converted more shot attempts. Like it was like a weird statistical anomaly that they scored a bunch of goals, and it was like, oh, okay, well,
Hmm.
Stars are come right back the next game, and that's exactly what happened. So it's little things like that where you can try and find like the weirdness in it. Um, but yeah, you still have to play that. No, there's a gut feeling here. It's gonna go this way.
So, since the games are typically much closer in playoffs, do you prefer money lines to goal differentials?
If I would say if you're looking at an underdog, so the team expected to lose,
Hmm.
and you're getting the 1.5 goals, it's a great way to make a safer bet.
Okay.
If you have conviction, hey, the Capitals are going to win. They're at home, yada yada yada. Oh, they're getting a goal and a half. We can look to last game. They lost by one in overtime.
Mhm.
So getting that goal and a half, you win your bet. It's a great way to kind of hedge it on the underdog case. When you're looking at the favorite, and it's much easier to take the money line than taking the spread. So that's where I kind of look at it. It's like when you're taking an underdog, go take the extra. Go
Yeah.
go have to risk a little more to win that $100 and take the safety because it's the playoffs and you're likely not seeing a 3 goal game.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about regular season? I know playoffs are a whole different animal, but what if our listeners are interested in getting in contact with you and using your services through ADPDFS? What, why would they want to essentially rely on an NHL handicapper to help with them with guidance?
Yeah, so that's an awesome question. And I'll say what we do is a little bit different because we're not just doing sports betting. We also
Hmm.
do daily fantasy sports. So DraftKings has 2 books, FanDuel has 2 books. It's your sports betting, all of that, but it's also um, you basically create a lineup of players. You get a salary cap, you go through, you have to choose, depending on the sport, whether it's hockey, I think it's 8 players and a goalie. Baseball, it's, I think, eight
We
players,
don't care about that.
pitchers, whatever
I'm
it
just
is.
kidding.
Each sport has their own thing and
That
you have a
sport that's
salary
not
cap.
played on ice. We're like, what? Why would you do that?
So throughout that, what we do is we go into those analytics, whether it's natural stat trick, whether it's there's some other ones out there that you can look at to pay deeper, but it's finding the inefficiencies in the market is what we would call it. So
Oh, okay.
based on player performance and expected we'll call it expected goals, shots, whatever the metric is, we find those opportunities on players to score a point, on a team to win, on an over under. Um, a great example that we had was the Red Wings Buffalo game. I think it had like 13 goals in it.
Hmm.
We recognized one the trends in those games. They had I think it was 8 of the last 10 games had 10 goal or 8 goals total, and a hockey total is usually 5 to 6.
Right.
And so we actually bet it up to 9 or 10, whatever
Wow.
whatever they allowed us to. And
Wow.
it hit in like the mid-second period. So it's just like finding those inefficiencies so you don't have
Hmm.
to do that work yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
And we do everything, we're not one of those sites that charges someone for, all different sports. So we do everything from baseball to NASCAR to hockey to everything, you name it. But it's you want a sport, you get it. And we're there for education too. A lot of the subscribers that we have come in and ask us questions of why are you looking at it this way, or what did you identify that led you
Hmm.
to this? And that's what I try to do too in any of my write-ups is I try to give insight into this line combination when they're put together has expected goals for of X when they're facing, whatever, whoever it is, the Panthers, who over the last 2 weeks have
Hmm.
actually allowed a ton of goals or have overperformed their metrics, whether it's finding goalie inefficiencies, Devin, as you know, sometimes goalies are playing better than they should be, or vice versa. They're playing worse than they should be. And you can see that in expected goal metrics when you kind of compare goalies to the team And okay, how's the team perform? Well, how's the goalie performing? And then you kind of
Mhm.
say, oh, well, the team should be allowing less, so it's the goalie, or the goalie's overperforming than the team, and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
well, then it's the team, so this means that it's likely to come back down. And so finding those kind of inefficiencies in what's out there is kind of what my job is. And then
That's
to
a very
give the
important
insight.
metric.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of times you're kind of you're like, wait, is there anything? And then you find the obvious one.
Yeah.
And then it's finding because we have such a strong community. So we do a lot of it through we do everything through Discord, and because we have an
Yes.
active community, someone says, hey, this line mean, whatever it is, an opportunity to bet on something looks weird. What do you think? And it's like, hey, yeah, let me go look at it and see what I'm seeing. And we share those types of things so that people can get in on it and say, like, yeah, this was the reason we bet on it is because we expect this to win more than it loses. And that's kind of our
So
goal.
you've cultivated a community on Discord as well.
Yeah.
It's interactive in that capacity then.
Yeah, very much
Okay.
interactive is, you call them your internet friends. Like it's
Yeah. You're hockey
you
friends.
yeah, you get to know people, and other people are, provide insight too. Yeah, they're not
Mhm.
the lead, but people have insights on all different sports. So it's, I learn something new from other
Mhm.
people learn from me. We share, everyone has like, hey, I saw this, I wanted to bet it. What do you think? Great. I love that. Here's what I would do differently. Like there are certain players that I just recommend people not to bet on because of
Mhm.
the way how they perform. It's very much, they get a lucky tip in or whatever the metric is. There are certain players that's like it's not efficient to bet on them. You'll likely lose more than you'll win. And so those are the types of
Interesting.
things where like as people kind of venture off onto their own after learning what I'm looking at, I can be kind of their sounding board too. It's like, no, 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 no. I don't like it. It's your money, do whatever you want, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that with my money. And that is the last piece is if we're putting something out, we bet on it or we are
Okay.
paying it. That is how we
You put
operate.
your
So,
money where your mouth is.
yeah, we're never going to
That's
put
good.
something out and it's not something that we have personally invested in.
That's awesome. We find this relatable to speak for both of us, Megan, but you feel free to chime in. It it sounds a little bit like our ladies of the NHL group without the betting, because that's how we stay informed on 32 teams largely is just
Yeah.
communicating with, and it's also social media. It lives on Facebook, ladies of the NHL. There's also ladies of fill in the blank, each of the 32
Hmm.
teams around the country in Canada. And we just share information like what we're
Yeah.
excited about, who we're watching, memes, jokes, games
Mhm.
we're attending, what we're wearing, like you name it, no topic off limit. It's just all hockey. And that's how, I mean, I think I have learned, you already knew a ton, Megan, but I've learned a lot in the past 2 years from women across the country just talking about the teams they love, much like this.
Yeah, it's great. We actually, one of our NASCAR handicapper lives in New York and is an avid Ranger fan.
Oh,
And I'll be honest, like I'll literally reach out to him and say, "Hey, how did the Rangers look the last couple days?" Like he gets the comment, he gets the things that I sometimes can't get, and he's like, "Yeah, no, they're gonna win." And he always, if he's in on it, I'm in on it, especially if the metrics line up. It's like, yes, let's do it. So it's just little things like that. Same thing with me with the Red Wings, but it's
mhm.
reverse. I say,
Sure.
"Hey," to the other NHL guy, I say, "Hey, do you like the Red Wings tonight? Because they look good, and I'm trying to keep my fandom out of it. But what do you
Yeah,
think?" So I always got check myself the other way because sometimes I do my best not to let fandom get in there, but it's hard sometimes.
I don't know that Megan and I would be the best gamblers. I don't know. Could you keep your heart out of it? I couldn't.
Absolutely.
You could? Okay, so you
Oh,
could do
yeah, no.
it.
If you're not going to perform for me, then I can put that aside for a little while. Like, I would
I love
happily
it.
bet against the Red Wings.
I could
That
never
you
bet
would be a
against the
great
Red
better.
Wings.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll just give you my $10
I think
for
it's part
for
of
the
the
test.
realist. It's part of the realist. It's just that why would I waste my money just because I like you? That's silly.
Well, I would waste my money because I like you, and I'd be broke. So I better not get addicted to your
Yeah.
site.
It's probably hard to get addicted if you're not winning. It's when you win for a little while and then it goes the other way where you're like you got the feeling. They say that people who lose the first few times stop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, that makes
you've
sense.
never really heard of someone who went into a casino and lost immediately and said, "I love this, I want to go back." You know? But if they
Yeah.
won first and then they lost, they've got the itch.
It's
Yes.
true.
Yes. Like Megan, when you came in the first season, we were still in the playoffs. And then you just kept coming
Oh,
back to
yeah,
the Wings
absolutely.
every
You
year,
never know what
buying
can
more season
happen.
tickets.
There it
I'll never
is.
forget the first season after a playoff run and then having to go for preseason and being so excited. And I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't the vibe. Like, gotta calm down. It's
Why is
not
everyone
happening
else
yet.
not this excited?
Yeah, no, I didn't let myself go in that way. I realized I was like, this is a preseason game. Settle down.
Hey, I think our enthusiasm is appreciated.
It is. It's always
We
appreciated.
bring the excitement, even to training camp and preseason. It's great. Okay, so if any of our listeners today are interested in subscribing to your service, and we hope you will at least check it out, why not? Sounds like a blast. Megan and I are going to. What's the best way for them to do that? Should they visit first adpdfs.com?
Yeah, so
Okay.
what we're gonna do for you all is we're gonna give everyone who listens a free week. Come in, check us out, no obligation. Just cancel it at any time if you want. It will renew, so sign up, cancel it if you want, but check us out for a week. If you want to stay, we'd love to have you. You can reach out to me when there too, and I'll even give you guys a promo code for 10% off your next month. But we're gonna give you a free week anyway.
Yay.
So what you do is you go to adpdfs.com. If you do /products, it'll take you right to the sign up, so you don't have to mess around on the site. The site is more just to get you into the Discord.
Hmm.
From there, when you sign up, use promo code STYLE, STYLE, and join the Discord. It's free. You'll get, once you enter in, you can kind of see everything there. And like I mentioned, it's all sports, hockey, it's a little slower, obviously, because it's playoff time, but we're there. Ask questions, fire away. That's the best part of the community. And then follow us on X, I guess, or Twitter at ADPDFS. We sometimes give out free bets there. We put promotions out there. Actually, we have a promotion right now if you want to join for a month. That's available there as well. So all kinds of way to do it, but check us out with the free week promo code STYLE.
Thank you, Nick.
Awesome. I
Our
love it.
very first influencer code. Courtesy of Nick, we appreciate you. STYLE, love it. Hopefully, many more to come for our listeners, but you're the first, so we'll always appreciate you. Yeah, we're gonna check it out. This sounds like a blast, and honestly, I think playoffs is a fun time to talk to you in the community because anything can happen. So it's even more of a reason to
Oh yeah.
talk with others and get a feel for
For sure.
where.
And especially if your team's out of it, it gives you another reason to get engaged and get involved. And you don't have to bet with your heart. You can actually make a good bet. It's not
Yeah,
Unless
I
you're me, then
agree.
I'm still betting with my heart.
That's the best part, and probably something I guess, why do you get into betting? It keeps you engaged. I think for a lot of people, football season is one for me. If my team's not playing, I don't care about the rest of the games. But
Yeah,
hockey, I actually enjoy watching more.
yeah.
So I'll be invested a little more. But when your team's out of it, like if you don't have a rooting interest, why not root to make some money? And that's
Hmm.
that's kind of what people like to do. So
Well, that's kind of
yeah,
why brackets became a thing. Even if your
exactly.
team's not still in it, you're cheering for your bracket.
Yep.
We have a fun hockey style, just for fun bracket going right now. And me being cheesy, I have little prizes for the first place and last place at the
You
end.
didn't
So,
disclose that
no,
beforehand.
surprise, Megan. I mean, there's like 7 of us in this bracket. It's not super intense, but you have a fighting chance, Megan. I think you're in second right now,
Oh, that's crazy.
just after your fiance. Got to take
Oh,
him
of
down.
course. Ugh.
I mean, I took the Kings in my bracket, so I would lose anyway.
No,
Oh.
there's no way he's first because he had Colorado
Mm.
Oh,
going
okay. I
very,
haven't looked at
very
it in a
far,
minute.
if not winning.
Oh yeah, then
Yeah,
he's
no,
got to be.
he's no good. I can feel
Yeah.
good about that. If I beat him, all is well.
Yep. All is well. Yes. And then that's the other thing. You get friendly competition going.
You
So
do. Hmm.
All right. Well, this was so helpful. I feel much more knowledgeable. I appreciate you not judging us and making everything easy to digest and
Yeah.
introducing us and our listeners to this other part of the hockey experience.
And I wouldn't say I feel 100% like I know what I'm doing, but now I know there's a resource where I could actually learn how to do this. I don't have to know everything. You guys can help me make better decisions since I might not feel completely confident. And I think that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we try to do. And we're here to help. We can reach out to us on Twitter too. We try not to give away all the secrets, but we love to engage with people on Twitter and build out that community. But ultimately, we're doing what we can to provide the insight to the community as a whole, because we kind of notice that there's a lot of we'll call it shady people in betting and daily
Hmm.
fantasy sports and just that advice community where like they just want as many people as they can subscribe. They don't care about people. And they just put out a million things, and it's like, no, that's not how we want to operate. We want to be a resource. We want to put out something that we believe in, that, like our name says, is backed by analytics, or we found something. Yeah, of course, we'll bet with some vibes every now and then, because sometimes it just, you have to. But there's 99% of the time there's a reason behind it, but we always put our money where our mouth is, and we want to make sure that we are a good community, and that, we don't tolerate hate against anyone, even if it's another company. Like, we don't want that. We want to build a strong community. you know Men, women, doesn't really matter. We just want to have good people that want to win money together.
Love it. And talk hockey.
Awesome.
What could
Yeah,
be better?
hockey. There's other sports too, but we do talk
Yeah.
hockey,
Yeah.
especially during the playoffs.
Those sports that don't happen on ice, we've heard of them.
Yeah, I talk the most hockey, so I'm there.
I'm teasing. I'm sure we have many
Perfect.
listeners that do other things. We've just somehow found a way to make hockey a, full 365-day experience. So
Yes. Yeah.
we're
Well,
busy with
it is
hockey.
now with Worlds, and
Yeah.
basically rolls right into preseason almost. So there's stuff out there. There's always something you can find for hockey.
Always, always.
Very
And I
true.
hope our listeners can tell just how fantastic and genuine and authentic and kind you are. This is not an act. This is truly Nick. So I would say if I weren't someone who just betted blindly with my heart on whichever teams and players I like, I would absolutely go to you. You would be the next step to actually do something smart with my money. And you're very knowledgeable. So we are just tickled you decided to hop on. And I don't want to take too much of your time because you do have two little boys and a lovely wife to go hang out with. Please tell her Happy Mother's Day for us.
I will definitely do that. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's a lot of fun. Happy to do more of these. If you get requests to go deeper and talk about player props or
Mhm.
parlays, there's so much more that you can get into outside of what we talked on. So happy to do it. It's one of those things where we're a small company, and we love to connect with people who are open to hearing about us. So this was fun, and looking forward to hopefully seeing some of you stylers in Discord.
Yay,
Awesome.
sounds great.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.
Hey everyone, welcome to period 3.
Woo, that was fun.
Yeah, I honestly genuinely learned a lot from him. And I still kind of feel like I'd be like, okay, I get it. And then be like, no, I don't get it. But I really feel like it makes a lot more sense. And I really do feel like giving his services a try. I feel like I could actually learn how to do that and maybe make betting fun. Maybe I won't hate it when they talk about it so much. Like it seems like
Yeah.
something I could actually do.
Yes. Nick's so kind too. I bet he would give us
Yeah.
I won't call it a cheat sheet. That sounds wrong. A reference sheet. Uh,
But
uh,
yeah, I feel like the
yeah.
service is giving you the reference sheet. Like if you know,
Yes. Well, I
yeah.
meant more really super basic, like in case you forget Devon and
Oh,
Megan, plus means this,
I
minus.
can literally draw me a picture.
No, I think this episode was really helpful, and hopefully some of our listeners agree, and you aren't all super experts, and we just totally wasted an hour of your time. I
Yeah, give
think
it a
there are
try.
others out there like us
What do you
who,
have to lose? Yeah.
yeah, Let's and
It's
Nick
fine.
he's so kind. If you have questions for him, like he said on Discord, hockey people get each other. We love to talk about the sport. We love to talk about the teams. And I think any question is a good question in that space.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Good one. And I love
Yeah.
the idea of having him come back for a 201 class, if you will,
Yeah.
or to talk, you said fantasy.
Very interesting. Yeah.
You've done fantasy hockey before, right, Megan?
Yes. I find
Yeah.
it grueling.
She says
But
with trepidation.
I feel like I might be ready to give it a try again. It
Yeah.
always seemed like so much work and so much thought every single day. But I feel like I could give it a go again. Maybe it was just I was making it more complicated than it needs to be.
What do you actually do every day? Are you
Well,
constantly?
have you ever played fantasy football? Oh
No.
my goodness. Well, you have to set your lineup. So if you're thinking in terms of the NFL, you're really only technically doing that once a week. Like you kind of have to have everything ready for Thursday for
Right.
when they play the Thursday game into Sunday. But if you think about hockey, that's almost every day.
Every
So
day.
almost every day you have to check on your lineup and make sure the correct players are in. So it can get
Got it.
a little daunting sometimes.
Yes. 82 games verse 8, right?
No, isn't there more than that?
And
I'm really showing off my football knowledge. There's more than 8 football games.
there's 8 home games. I think there's like
Oh,
16. I don't know. This is a hockey podcast. We don't have to. We're not on the hook for knowing those things. The important thing is there are 82 NHL games, and
we're
that
only
is
going to
a
tell you what we know.
lot of work. We will not throw knowledge out that is not quality. We do not know. We are
Oh,
not the
well,
people you should come to for football.
that was charming.
Hopefully. Oh my gosh, so funny. So no, but I get what you're saying. 82 times in the year for multiple teams, right? So
Hmm.
that's like
Well,
basically every
it's your
day.
players. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're
Which
yeah.
is it could span several teams. So you're
Mhm.
every single day checking. Well,
Yeah.
it still could be fun.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll have Nick back on in the summer to talk about fantasy before everyone builds their teams.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love it.
Yes. So, Megan, do you have a hockey style tip for us? It's playoffs. We need a good
Yes.
one.
Yes. Well, I was kind of thinking like in line with the whole like sports betting and it's the playoffs and it's kind of like get a little extra, go a little glam, add to your
Yes.
outfit. You don't just have to wear your normal, like me, black leggings. Do something special. Get your sequins out.
Yes. We're never extra people.
Never, never. But I thought, like, what a great time if you're in the playoffs, going to a playoff game. Why not
Mhm.
bust out a little sequin skirt or
I
what
love it.
else?
Yes, I have many examples here. So you don't always just have to pair your hockey jersey or hockey shirt with jeans or leggings. That you can do a cute sequin skirt, play it up with shorts, whatever you want to do to make it blingy for playoffs or hair bows. Because Megan and I cultivated our friendship around our mutual wearing of hair bows to hockey games. For people watching on YouTube, I have shared a few. If you're listening to audio, they are red and silver and all blinged out. You can invest in some sparkly shoes. Megan and I have these in a variety of colors. We always plug Betsy Johnson because she makes them in every color of the rainbow, and they're really actually pretty well priced and comfortable. But these
They're
happen
very
to
comfortable.
be Anne Klein. I liked the little scallop at the bottom. So for
Cute,
those
cute.
listening to audio, they're like a platinum gold color. Gives me icy vibes. So it's taking your regular game day look and just enhancing it, which is so much fun for playoffs. It's when anything goes. Show your team spirit. We're loving the Winnipeg whiteout that they've been doing and how creative people there are getting with not just wearing a white jersey, a white shirt, but a full white costume, whether it's, the Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. I saw like Cleopatra, like everybody's just doing above and beyond. So anything goes if your team's in the playoffs or if you're lucky enough to go to a game in person or a watch party, bust out your sequins.
Love it.
Yes.
Get crazy.
Get crazy
Share it
and
with
have
us. We
fun.
want to see it.
Yeah, please tag us on any of your pictures at Hockey Style Podcast. We are on Instagram and love to share all of our behind the scenes footage on a daily basis. So please follow us there. And please like and subscribe where you are listening or watching today so that we can grow our community and continue to connect you with hockey fans all over.
Yes, love it.
We'll see you next week.
See you later.